Hi everyone, and welcome to my YouTube channel. This channel is dedicated to those that are working on their personal awakening. If you're new to my material, I highly recommend starting with the older videos that became more popular and work your way up to this video. Today's topic is about free will and destiny. I like that word, destiny. This subject comes up quite often as it has a paradoxical nature and therefore creates quite a conundrum. Free will is a measurement of the things we are allowed to do as we explore this reality. Think about it as another property of the nature of existence as we see it from our narrow human 3D perspective here and now, meaning in this time and in this space. There are other worlds that have significantly less free will than what we have, and it's not necessarily for the better or for the worse, meaning better free will or more free will isn't necessarily a positive thing. People use their free will for positive and negative things. For example, they can create art and amazing things of creation, but they can also commit murder and unheard of atrocities to each other. We are not limited in almost any way but our own consciousness and upbringing. In choosing to come here to incarnate as a human being, however, and to truly allow the heroic exploration of the unknown, we have given up a part of us that remembers its pure source. It was the only way we could play the game of incarnation, karma, and the feelings that are derived from being separate from each other and from the Creator itself. Right now, here on Earth, free will is a direct correlation to the consciousness level of the being that holds it. A simple example is that animals have less free will than human beings, as it is a property of people to have the selection and choices of free will. You will not see animals that are naturally overpopulating their habitat unless humanity has somehow got involved with it along the way. You will also not see any animals that are overweight in nature, as they lack the free will of that choice. However, animals that are closer to human beings can get fat due to the choices that people make around them. They begin playing our game of free will. So you will actually get a fat dog, you will get a fat cat, if you will, but you won't get a fat snake, you won't get a fat zebra or a fat cockroach. They will eat as they are programmed to eat and not beyond that. That is the selection of free will. It seems that we can do everything using our free will, but then comes the destiny, or what we like to call our theme. Our theme is selected wisely by our higher self and our guides just before each life. There is the destiny of one life, and there is the larger theme of exploration that evolves and spans over multiple lives. But the thing that we are talking about here is that one of a single life that we have selected and we are living right now, which is the current life that we are right now exploring in the 3D reality. The rule is simple. The theme cannot be changed. It is the one constant, and everything else is our free will. Yet, there are many ways to work with the theme for our betterment and our enjoyment. The theme holds things that we cannot change: our physical body, our family, the type of hair that we have, the country that we are born in, the level of potential IQ and the level of potential EQ, which is the emotional intelligence that we are born with. We cannot change the year that we are born in or the type of exploration that we have. Some certain DNA inherited characteristics we cannot change as well. Some gifts that we are born with, athletic tendencies for example, which chakras are going to be more open than others, and anything else that we cannot really change. That is our theme. Now, free will can allow us to change everything else that is not a part of our theme. Our friends, our relationships, our business decisions, our connection to nature, the speed of our spiritual exploration, the food we choose to eat, how much we take care of our physical body, the timing of our personal awakening as well, and pretty much everything else that is not the constant of our theme. The theme, for example, is the color of our skin. Free will is our ability to tan. Some people, for example, cannot tan, or they burn real quickly in the sun. There is hardly anything they can do about that, so they can't change it, so it's not a part of their free will. The key to work with our destiny and free will is not different than what we have previously discussed in my previous videos about manifestation, synchronicities, intuition, and more. You see, there is a divine plan for every one of us, and it is embedded in our theme. Working with our free will to listen to the hints, the clues that our theme has enabled for us is a part of that. If, for example, you go against your gifts or neglect to use some of them, you'll probably find that something in your life is missing because it is just like a puzzle and you're not using all the pieces. If you have ever played a game that allows you to receive certain objects, you probably know that the game designer will never give you an object that you will not use or introduce you to a circumstance or a character that you have nothing to gain for the remainder of the path in your game. Have you ever watched a video that at some point or at some scene a gun is showed to the audience? If a gun is showed at any point, the gun will probably be used in another scene, right? In other words, the director, which is partly you, has wanted you to see it so you will understand the context, just like with your theme. So everything that you have come here with is a part of your theme, and it is created for a reason and can all be used in some way. By now you've probably noticed that everything has a reason, or everything happens for a reason. It's just that sometimes we have to wait a few years to truly understand the reason why something had to happen in our life and how it served to better us. Like a bad relationship, like a job, like losing money, like something that we declared as negative in the past. The theme also comes with breakthroughs. You can also think about those breakthroughs as levels or milestones that open up in your theme as you progress in life. Sometimes the breakthroughs can happen in a very short period of time, and this is a part of the ascension process that is taking place right now. There is an acceleration of everything that goes on in our personal awakening. And that is why you, the seeker of knowledge, are watching this video right now. It is a part of your free will to do so, but it is also part of your theme to be pulled towards it. A breakthrough is also defined by the choices that we make using our free will. We will only be allowed to progress in our theme if we have learned the things that we committed to explore in our theme. That is why many people feel like they are stuck in life. They think that the external circumstances of life do not present them with a growth opportunity instead of assuming responsibility, looking within themselves and finding where they need to change to truly progress. And then they'll have a milestone and a breakthrough. I can share with you one of my biggest breakthroughs that I had in my theme, which was working and healing my emotional body. The result was my ability to have higher levels of empathy, being able to be authentically myself and expressing my happiness and my sadness. The ability to cry when I feel sad, to talk about the way I feel openly, and many other things that happened all together. The story of the things I needed to do to get that breakthrough is long, and I believe that I have talked about it here and there in the videos. I share it openly with my participants of the Pranic Living initiations because we have much more time than in a very, very short video. Before that breakthrough, I was stuck both individually as a person and I was looping relationships that didn't really work out for me. And I was actually looking for the next thing in my life, but I was stuck for years. Once it became clear to me that I am flying up there in the clouds most of the time and I need to be more grounded into the 3D reality and experience life from a person's perspective and not trying to run away to different distractions like alcohol, Facebook, meditation, or anything else, the breakthrough actually occurred by itself. But we have to understand what it is. We have to understand what theme we choose to explore. So my theme, which was designed by me, my higher self, and I can tell you that I am beginning to remember more and more of who I truly am. And just like I designed my theme, you have designed your own theme and your own future. So you will have your own breakthroughs and remember your own design. And I believe for some of you, it's already happening. So my theme limited my progress until I used my free will to choose a certain exploration that I might not have thought about before. For other people, the limitation could be something completely different. Working on their personal relationships, on their self-esteem or self-love. For some people, a breakthrough can occur upon the development of stronger principles, like choosing a vegetarian or vegan lifestyles and persisting with it. Everyone's theme is profoundly different, and you only know by your mind and your feelings. Everyone's theme is completely different. And you can know your theme and what your milestones are by using your mind, your logic, your feelings, and your intuition. There's just one last thing I'd like to add before we bring the subject to a closure. And that is that the more developed, spiritually or personally developed you will be in your theme, the more breakthroughs you will have and the more spiritually evolved you will become. You will notice that you have less and less free will. Now, Less free will is not a bad thing, because you will perceive it as letting go of the human struggle, which is also made from making lots of choices. The letting go comes with a huge release, where you stop believing your thoughts and are guided much more intuitively to the proper path instead of failing, trying and failing and trying and failing. For example, 10 years ago, I didn't want to teach these type of materials. I didn't want to be a spiritual guide. I didn't want to be with only one person for the rest of my life. I didn't want many things. Now, as I matured, I let go of the control I thought I had and received the gifts that life allowed me to have. Today, I can tell you I'm completely different. And this is due to the choices I have made using my free will and properly escorted by my higher guidance. So, I recommend you use your free will to serve others, because that is the fastest route to growing. And of course, if at some point you want to take your next step in evolution, join one of my global retreats in a country closest to you. And please, feel free to visit my website for any additional content or for just investigation of the self. The link is down below. Namaste, my friends, and I will see you in my next video.